Coach, how you doing, Coach? Coach, I'll die for you, Coach. I just want you to believe in me. I just want you to believe in me. Let's go to the Lions.
And they basically told me if I'm there, it's a possibility they're going to take me. So I had my phone right next to me, ringer on all the way up. Kept checking it, I was nervous, but when I got that call, it was just, I don't even know how to describe it, the feeling.
The Lions take one of my favorite players in this draft class, Isaac Tisla out of Arkansas. I'm giving this an A+. Almost 6'4", 214 pounds, ran a 4.43 in the combine.
What's going on, guys? It is Aiden Hutchinson.
What's up, man? It's your boy Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Greetings and salutations to everyone out there in YouTube land. This is Dan Skipper, offensive weapon for the Detroit Lions. Make sure you all help support Lions Talk Live, Coach Dan, by clicking on that like and subscribe button. Everybody, woo!
Well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I am your host once again, Dan Thornton, and I want to thank you all for joining us here today. Hey, Lions Talk Live, and as you can tell from this episode of the show's thumbnail, that Ben Johnson, the Chicago Bears, they have set their sights on MCDC and the Detroit Lions. We're going to get into that during the main top of the day, but as you guys know, about a week from now, the NFL full season schedule comes out. Everybody's going to be watching it. You're going to want to see who's playing what game in prime time, what channel, everything in between. We've been speculating about a couple of the matchups, where they might be played, Thanksgiving Day, Christmas Day, and everything in between. We do think that the Detroit Lions, it sounds like most of the people in the Duke Crew do believe the Detroit Lions, the Chicago Bears, are on a collision course to face each other in primetime games. And let's be fair, those games are probably going to be amongst the better ones, not just in the NFL regular season, but for the NFC North. And I'm guessing the NFL is aware of this. They're going to want to take advantage of it, making sure it's out there in primetime slots. And let's also not forget, Detroit Lions, there's been some speculation this offseason that some of the players, some of the coaches maybe have some ill will for Ben Johnson. We'll again dive into that during the main topic of the day. All right, real quick, before we get into the 5 headlines down the main topic of the day and everything in between, if you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so, making that march for 13,700, and we are 15 subs away. So if you can help be one of those 15 people, get us up to that marker of 13,700. I surely would be thankful. Also, if you have a free second of time, it doesn't cost you even a dime. Reach on down and hit that thumbs up button, that like button. We try to get every episode of Lions Talk Live between 2, 3, 400 or more thumbs up or likes. So if you can do that, that would be most awesome. And I would be thankful of if you could do that. So whatever I'm trying to say. All right. Last but never least, if you are considering buying or selling property, if you're looking for someone who's not going to overcharge you, make sure that they watch your back. Make sure the lenders, make sure the title company, everybody out there, make sure they've got your best interest at heart. Make sure you're not going to pay more than you should. Go ahead and give me a call or shoot me a text. You see the number on the screen, 269-998-2384. I've been doing this for, well over 30 years. So if you're looking for commercial property, vacant land, a new house, new construction, old house, need to buy, need to sell, whatever, go ahead and give me a call. We can have a quick conversation and see what I can do to help you out. All right, again, 269-998-2384. All that done, said, out of the way, let's get on over to the first segment of the show. And as you know, that is 5 headlines out. All right, the glorious headlines coming at you in the off season. Notes: ESPN Insider gives important context to the Lions' selection of Isaac Tisla. SB Nation story by Jeremy Risman. A lot of Tisla news came out yesterday, and some of it just detailed further the information, who all was in the bidding war to get that pick. Apparently, it spread like wildfire once a couple teams contacted the Jags about the pick. And then, you guys know how it goes. Once people start fearing the guy they want's about to come off the board, everybody starts jumping up. You see it often. We often wonder why, say like with Detroit Lions and Ratledge, why they move up just a couple of spots and give up those draft picks to get him. He surely would have been there 3 selections later. And then you find out maybe within a week or two, that's not the case. Another team was about ready to select him. Another team was going to jump frog him, whatever you want to say. And that does seem, it seems like we get more information on a 3rd round trade than maybe even some of the first round trades. But without a doubt, the most controversial pick for the Detroit Lions in this past draft was probably this selection. We all get it. There were people thought, man, the Lions were crazy giving up 57,000 third-round picks for this guy. And then we came out and found out that, hey, Philly, the Broncos, the Rams, amongst others, apparently wanted to move up and get, that's right, Isaac Tisla. So this kid definitely made an impact on the draft and made some people really think he could be worth it. ESPN's Jeremy Fowler produced an article this week that provided some important context to the Tisla selection. First and foremost, Fowler explained how Tisla launched his draft value late in the process, something the media may not have caught up with as far as what NFL scouts, NFL GMs, and we've talked before in the last week or so since the draft about how Brad Holmes really got a deep dive investigation on him. Going to quote here, but Isaac Tisla is a prime example why the pre-draft process matters, Fowler wrote. Continuing quote, Tisla was off the draft radar, and then many teams had to scramble to get him an invite to the Hallelujah Bowl. We talked about that before. Some injuries happened, some spots open. NFL teams, really try to push for a couple different players. Obviously, he was one of them. He performed well at both, then caught the scouts' attention at the combine by running a 4.43 second 40-yard dash at 6'4" and 214 pounds. Then, as you guys know, everybody started jumping on board with just what he did there, etc. This is a great in-depth article from multiple different journalists. If you want to go check it out. Not that Jeremy Risman isn't knowledgeable, but you get him along with Fowler, along with a couple other people. I think if you want a real deep dive investigation, find out more about why the Detroit Lions moved up to get him, all the intricacies, and why several other teams wanted him. You know what? It's a good story, good read, and I think there's a few stories about it. This is just the one I chose to put in the 5 headlines now. All right, went on too long with that one. Let's get to the next one. Lions only have one Jameson Williams option after George Pickens trade. Fan side, a story by John Bueller. So, you guys, if you don't know, yesterday, Pittsburgh Steelers traded George Pickens to the Dallas Cowboys, got a third-round pick. In a nutshell, the Pittsburgh Steelers said, hey, we're not going to pay this guy a second contract. We're going to get rid of him now. They got a third for him. And I think there might have been a little bit extra other than the third, but I didn't pay a ton of attention to it. So apologies about that. We guys all know about a week or so before the NFL draft, there were some speculations the Lions were going to trade Jameson Williams. Thankfully, that did not happen. I really don't see the stories outlined here that the Lions, hey, you're going to have to wait until next season to trade him, blah, blah, blah. I don't agree with that. I think he's going to be a Detroit Lion for the foreseeable future. I think he's going to probably more than likely have a pretty good year this year. I think he really fits Jameson Williams, that is, what John Morton wants to do, that we're all assuming offensively. And the other part is the last 2 seasons, especially if you go back to that playoff run we had when we beat Tampa Bay, the Rams, then played at San Francisco 2 seasons ago, you could see not only the end of the regular seasons, but definitely in the playoffs, more defensive coordinators were trying to clamp down on Jameson Williams, and yet the more he was still producing. Last year, I thought he really had a great season, and I am expecting even a better season out of him this year. With that all being said, I don't see the Lions getting rid of him or trading him. I think John Bueller's got some points in the article. If you want to say, hey, the one option is that they got to re-sign him and keep him on probably a 3 to 4 year deal after his 5th-year option, I think that's possible. I don't think there's any way, shape, and form that Bueller, or at least some of the stuff he speculates in the article, where the Lions are going to have to trade him after this season. I just don't see that happening. Been wrong before, though. All right, blockbuster trade pitch lands. $21 million all-pro edge rusher to bolster Detroit Lions' chances. Sporting News, story by Daira Sharma. Stop me when you heard this before. Lions need to make a trade, blockbuster move to get an edge rusher opposite Aiden Hutchinson. We've heard it all offseason this year. We heard it all last season. The Lions haven't done it unless you want to consider some of the Davenports or whatever people they brought in and put over there. Then, yes, that's probably going to be the extent of the move. This particular story outlines Trey Hendrickson coming to the Detroit Lions. Stop me when you heard this one before. Hey, I'm just here to report the news. I'm not going to say it's going to happen, but the story does go through a lot of different scenarios that we all get it. Hendrickson has sought permission to seek a trade going somewhere else. Anybody at this point think that he's going to come to the Detroit Lions? I mean, maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. I'm just saying if on a scale of 1 to 10, I put this at about a 1 out of 10 chance of happening. Would he help the Detroit Lions? Sure. Are they going to pay him that contract? Probably not. Are they going to give up the draft capital to acquire him and then pay him a new contract? Probably not, if you look at what Brad Holmes has done in the past. But you know what? If something happens where this goes down, I will get the news over to everybody as quick as possible. Just my personal opinion, I don't see it happening. All right, why Lions are projected to be one of NFL's top performing fantasy offenses in 2025. Sports Illustrated, story by Christian Bohr. So here's what I'll say about this. I think the Detroit Lions will be, if they're not the number 1 team in the NFL offensively next year, they're going to be in the top 3 to 5. I just don't see there being any way, shape, or form for they couldn't or won't do that. My personal opinion, we talked about it ad nauseum recently. Goff is going to be one of the best quarterbacks out there. He's going to have a great line and great offensive line depth. 2, you look at the running backs. I think you will see more what used to be known as pro offense. So 2 backs, 1 tight end, 2 receiver sets out there. And yes, there'll be times they go 3 receivers, 4 receivers, or whatever. But a pro set offense, that's what I'm anticipating a lot of John Morton. He gives you, in case people blitz, you got 2 backs back there that can either A, block, or B, release out in the flats, kind of negating some of the blitzers. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about how that offense works, but probably anybody who's watched football for any length of time has seen it either at the high school level, the college level, the pro level. I just think it's becoming slowly back in norm. Plus, it fits what John Morton wants to do. The other part is you look at the gluttony of Lions offensive weapons. You cannot stop them all unless you get to the quarterback and shut down the running game. Again, something we've talked about a lot. I think John Morton's going to put a lot of pressure on the secondary for teams to not be able to come down and play 8-man fronts. That's going to open up the run game, which puts more pressure on the opposing defensive line, linebackers, yada, yada. You get it. I think if as long as we don't get snake bitten in any way, shape, or form, and I'm not going to mention, I'm just going to say that, I think the Detroit Lions, if you don't think they're going to have a top offense, I would love to hear your reasons why. I get there's probably fans of some other teams that watch this show and say, yeah, you're going to be number 28 or 32 in the league. So I get it, but I think Christian Bohr is right. You want to check out the story. He does detail a lot of things. My personal opinion, probably the one player that has the biggest upside potential this year, I'm going to give you 2. I'm going to give you Gibbs, and I'm going to give you Laporta. I just think through the style offense that we're going to have, you're going to have a whole lot of one-on-one situations for Laporta. I just don't see you being able to double him. I think he's going to feast because of it. The other part is Gibbs. We saw what he can be when Montgomery went down as a primary 90% of the carries back. I also think this type of offense, again, with the 2-back set or pro system set, I think he's going to be leaking out into the flats a whole lot and curl routes, and he's probably going to get a whole lot of catches. We'll see what shakes. All right, last of the 5 headlines now. Lions immediately making big change for 2 draft picks. Fan side story by Chris Shad. So we speculated about this a little bit yesterday. And then, hey, what do you know? Chris Shad has a story on it. If you wondered why the Lions selected 2 different rookie offensive linemen, you know what? Chris Shad's got your story. He's got the reason why. He says the Lions have already begun to make the move. Excuse me, I had to clear my throat. For Miles Frazier and then Tate Ratledge to both play center and guard and potentially also have them play tackle. So we get it. They were both drafted primarily as guards, but you know what? Not so much anymore. Lions are going to have these guys rotating all around the offensive line. And yes, the question of what was going to happen for a replacement for Frank Ragnow, you're probably seeing it with these 2 draft picks. Who's going to play there? Who's not? We'll leave that for time to debate. But I do think 100% the Lions have got the investments for the future of this offensive line already on staff. And whether that's Giovanni Manu, whether it's Tate Ratledge, whether it's Miles Frazier, I think all 3 of them are in play. And don't forget Christian Mahogany. It's hard to forget him. You're probably not moving on from Penei Sewell for about another decade or so. Remember, he's only in his early 20s. Yes, he's played in the NFL for 3 or 4 seasons already, but he's still only like 23, I want to say. So you're probably looking at least 10 more years of him. So that Lions offensive line might be pretty dang powerful for a long time. All right, with all that done, set out of the way, let's get over to, I want to see what you guys all have to say about this, the main topic of the day. side question for everybody, just because it seems like we get information on Isaac Tisla so much already this offseason. What's your expectations for Tisla? Let me know in the comments section. How many catches do you think this guy is going to have? How many touchdowns? Let me know. I would love to see what the Duke crew is thinking about it. All right, main top of the day. As you can tell from today's thumbnail, Ben Johnson at a presser yesterday, getting ready for the NFL schedule release here in about a week or whatever it is, whatever the math ends up being on that. So don't hold me if it's not exactly 7 days. Just, a lot of it is coach speak. I get it. You listen to it ad nauseum. Hey, what coach isn't going to say, hey, we're going to go out there, we're going to work hard every day. Hey, we're going to try to improve. But you know what I often say to you guys? People reveal themselves. That mask comes off of people the longer you get to talk to them. The more you get them to be comfortable and just kind of forget that they're talking in front of a camera, talking in front of a mic. Somebody might be listening to what you're saying. Ben Johnson, and I'm going to paraphrase a little bit here because I don't have the exact quotes in front of me, but he did say, hey, loved his time in Detroit, loved, MCDC or Dan Campbell, their friends. Also kind of made mention about, hey, that Lions offense, that really turned around when I took over. It'll be interesting to see what they can do next year without me. Talked about Caleb Williams, how he's going to write him. Also talked about, yes, the inevitable thing that's going to happen at some point. The Chicago Bears are going to face the Detroit Lions, and he can't wait to win. Now, I get as a competitor or as a coach, you don't walk into any game saying, hey, I'm going to lose here. Not unless you're getting paid a whole lot of zeros behind that one, right? But Ben Johnson did more or less, paraphrasing here, come out and say he thinks the Chicago Bears are going to be the team that supplants the Detroit Lions, and he thinks offensively they're going to be too much for the Lions defense to handle. And to me, again, you get him to start being comfortable, start talking how he really feels. He goes on to say the Bears offense is just too much, or going to be too much in his anticipation for any team in the NFC North's defense to be able to contain. And I get it. They do have some weapons. I'm going to give them their flowers and their praise and say that. But I also think this early in the year, for you to give out bulletin board material and go out and say more or less that Lions offense, that's all about me. I made St. Brown happen. St. Brown was a late round pick that wasn't going to do anything. Guy had to talk Brad Holmes into taking Gibbs. I mean, that's taking some credit away from Brad Holmes, too. Let's be real. Whether he's a Detroit Lion or a Ram, this guy has done nothing in the NFL other than hit on picks. And yes, doesn't mean he hasn't missed a few here and there, but he's a heck of a lot more right than wrong. MCDC taught, he kind of mentioned how, hey, the Lions offense was struggling when Dan, had some, he took over for Anthony Lynn and took over stuff. We worked together and I helped find a way to get some of these things to click a little bit better. I'm never a fan of making it about you when you're the coach. Make it about the team. But Ben Johnson, I think the more he talks, the more he's revealing who he really is. And that's what I'm saying. The mask comes off. There were times when he would do the OC or DC presser. He kept it as ho-hum, howdy-doody as he could be. And hopefully you guys get the reference, howdy-doody. Just, made it as non-committal comments as possible. Try to keep everybody happy. But you can see when he starts leaning back in that chair and he starts getting that smile on his face, you know what? He's looking forward to this matchup with the Detroit Lions. And I get it, again, from a coaching standpoint. I also get he's starting to feel pretty full of himself. At least that's how it appears to me. You guys come to your own conclusions. But yes, Ben Johnson's got it circled on the calendar. He wants to face his former, I don't know what do you call him, his head coach, his former boss. That's probably what I should say. His friend, his buddy, let alone the Detroit Lions. It seems clear to me, in his opinion, the Lions offense isn't going to be as good with him gone. A lot of these players owe their success to him, and now he's not afraid. I have no doubt if the Lions do not perform great this year, let alone against the Chicago Bears, he's probably going to have some comments about it. And me, myself, and I'm not a big fan of that. A lot of you guys felt when we faced the Washington Commanders in the playoff game, he was checked out. The game plan was not great. I've talked about it a lot before that Dan Campbell clearly, if you watch him on the sideline, there's about 3 or 4 different plays. When that's called in by Ben Johnson, he's grabbing his face, going down on his knees, grabbing his knees, head goes down. He's not happy with it. And that's also why I think Dan Campbell came out and said, from here forward, some of these type of plays, whoever the OC is, and this was before Morton was hired, that's going to have to go through me. It's probably a comment most of us didn't pay attention to, but if you've been coaching for a while or been a player for a while, or if you hear that comment, you actually sit and think about what it means he felt like Ben Johnson kind of got one over on him a couple different times, calling some of these plays that really busted badly. Whether, I'll let you guys debate whether it's the Jameson Williams pass or, whatever, the 3rd and 1, empty backfield, all that stuff. But MCDC clearly was not happy about it. I think this is a budding rivalry. Let's be fair. It's probably a rivalry that's going to exist at least as long as Ben Johnson and MCDC are in Chicago and Detroit. What say you, Duke Crew? Do you think Ben Johnson is telling us more and more, or showing us, I should say, more and more who he really is? Does he really think he is the sole reason the Lions offense became one of the best ones in the NFL? I don't know. I think this is going to be a real interesting season, because if Ben Johnson doesn't do well in Chicago this year, man, the Chicago Bears, they might have just set themselves back for a bit. And some of the shine might be coming off Ben Johnson. We'll have to wait and see once this games actually get played. But I do think what you see in the thumbnail, Ben Johnson smiling and grinning at Dan Campbell, is an actual thing. I think that's who Ben Johnson really is. The more you watch him, he's not the ho-hum kind of shucks McGee guy. He is somebody who really thinks overly highly of himself, probably a little arrogant and cocky, and he is revealing that more and more. All right, I probably babbled about this too much. Let's see what you guys have to say about all these things, and maybe just a little bit more. All right, let me scroll to the top of the screen and see what we have to say here. Hey, also real quick, not that this has anything to do with the Detroit Lions, I want to give a shout out to Bell Tire. Yesterday I got a call, or maybe it was the day before, whatever it was. I had a leak in one of my back tires, and I called them up. I've gone to Bell Tire for a gajillion years, and they said I was banned for life from from Bell Tire. I was like, what the heck? And the manager was like, yeah, I don't know, man. You come here all the time. So he went out of his way, and I'm giving him a shout out just for this reason. He called the corporate office. Corporate office said I owed something like $10,000 or so, whatever the number was, man. And he was like, that doesn't make any sense. So the guy spent hours on the phone with corporate office and eventually figured out it was a clerical error. Somebody mistyped something. Somebody put something on my account that shouldn't have been. They got it all squared away. But the fact that he spent 3 or 4 hours out of his day to make sure that, this matter was correctly handled, you guys get it, man. Somebody says they owe you money. They probably don't really care, especially at a big corporation like Bell Tire. They could have just forever said, oh, you either pay this or you don't ever get work here again, and your warranty on your tires, that's donezo. It means nothing. The fact that dude went out of his way, Chaz, went out of his way and just invested a lot of his own time to take care of me. I just want to give him a shout out. I have no idea if he watched the show or anybody at Bell Tire watched the show, but I'm very, very thankful. I even took him 2 pizzas from Little Caesars to say thanks, man. All right. Hey, got that out of the way. Mike the Ring, Gunny. Howdy, Dan and Duke Crew. Woo! Back at you, Gunny. 5 figures for any. Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson is such a bad guy. Did us dirty versus Washington. I hope we beat the Bears by 50 each time we play them. Hey, I'd be okay with that selfishly, because that means the Lions probably won both games if we beat them by 50. Detroit D. Greetings and salutations to the Duke Crew, and back at you. Voltron. Ben Johnson runs his mouth too much when he should just shut up and not give us fuel for the games. Yeah, and me as a coach, whenever reporters ask, wherever I've coached, hey, how's the team going to be this year? We're 0 whatever. We're 0-82 going into this season. Man, we'll be lucky to win a game. Oh, all those other teams are so much better than us. That's how I play things. I just don't want to give out bulletin board material. To your point, Voltron, though, I think Ben Johnson's giving a lot of teams, and probably not just the Detroit Lions, some locker room headlines. Gunny, I'm believing in MCDC over an emotional Ben Johnson. Me too, man. Lions win the division again. I hope we do. I hope we do, my friend. Kerry, good morning, crew. Same to you. Pat, good morning at Detroit D. Mike the Marine, Gunny, and Voltron Force. Bears will be improved, I do believe. I think Minnesota could be the most improved team of the division, though. I don't know what to think of. Loving the Packers. Gotcha. So let's start with that. Minnesota, because they didn't re-sign, what's his name, and let him walk out of there. They're going to have a very cap-friendly quarterback contract for a while. So I get it. J.J. McCarthy, rookie deal. He's also going to be a rookie. And let's be fair. If your team, as talented as they are, if they don't have sound play at the quarterback spot, man, you're basically the 90s Detroit Lions. All the talent in the world everywhere else, but couldn't get it done, unfortunately, a lot of times with the quarterback position. If McCarthy is good, then they're going to be a threat for sure. Jordan Love, man, he has streaks where he looks like an elite quarterback. He has other streaks where he looks like he shouldn't be a quarterback. So we'll have to wait and see in year 3 of the Love experiment. Bo, good morning, Duke Crew. Some things are irreplaceable. Woo! Like the Duke Crew themselves, right, Bo? Man Bear, good morning. Back at you. Sosmo, what's going on, Duke Crew? Question mark. Will there be a more heated set of games next year than the Lions versus Bears? Question mark. I doubt it. Me too, man. And a multitude of reasons. We get it. The Bears feel like they should have won that game with a clock mismanagement towards the end of the game. I get that. The game in Soldier Field, hey, they fired their coach. I think probably a lot of the Bears were checked out emotionally, coaches and players. So I get that. But yes, it has been a heated set of games. Now you add the Ben Johnson versus Mcdc, all that stuff. Yes, it will be a fireworks show. Silver Server, good morning, coach and everyone. Back at you. Steve, good morning, coach and crew. Exclamation point. There is no way the Bears will supplant the Lions for the North title. Exclamation point. We are champions. Woo! I do believe the Lions are going to win it. I don't know if we'll go undefeated in the division, but I do think we will be the best team at the end of the day for the NFC North. Matt Bear, Lions, Bears, Green Bay, then Vikings. I'll take that. Steve Rogers, Ben Johnson ran his lips when he was hired. Now he's talking too much once again. It does seem to be a consistent behavior for him. Detroit D, can't wait to see how improved our secondary will be with Tyrion having a full season under his belt. Plus, I want to see what Rakestraw can bring to the secondary. Yeah, and I think a lot of times, us as fans, maybe the media, whoever you want to throw in there, we forget Enos Rakestraw, all the promise he had coming out of the draft. Now, we did find out, he ran the 40 with, what was it, like a groin pull or something like that, a pretty severe one, and he still ran a 4.5. So my anticipation is, just from a speed standpoint, he's probably closer to 4.4, maybe in the 4.3s. Now, as far as his play, we'll have to wait and see on the field, but at least in college, we can say he located the ball well, he wrapped up well, he did a lot of good things, and now he'll be in year 2, hopefully healthy. Let's see what shakes. Henry Moore, good morning, Coach Dan of the Duke Crew. What a team. What a podcast. What a time be a Lions fan. Woo! And back at you. Thank you for that, as always, Henry. Troy D, Lions, Minnesota, Packers, Bears. I'm down with that. Hey, if the Bears can finish last, I'm fine with that. Big Daz, good morning, Coach Dan of the Duke Crew. Oh, yeah. That loser in Chicago better get used to eating our smoke. I'm down with that, man. I'm down with that indeed. Kerry, can't wait to see the progress from all the rookies. Want to see Jamarco Jones this season. And again, another person probably gets forgotten about a lot by most of us on the offensive line depth. He's not mentioned enough, and I really liked his play a season ago, but most of us only saw him in the preseason. He could be definitely one of the people in the backup tackle position. Jessica, I agree with you, Detroit D. I want to see our defense really get the praise they deserve. To your point, we were one of the best defenses in the NFL before everything went south on the defense. Another year for some of these younger players, getting healthier, maybe a little bit more depth. We could definitely be one of the top defenses out there. Trey, what's good, everybody? Question mark. Look, coaches are always going to say that they are in it to win it. I get that. In my eyes, Ben just left everyone here the wrong way. That target is big on him. Yeah, and I get what you're saying. We've already kind of mentioned all the things, but the playoff loss, how it was handled, how ill-prepared the offense really looked at times out there. Yeah, there's probably a whole lot of team or players on the Lions who feel the same way. Silver, I can see the Bears taken by the wind of enthusiasm. With a stacked roster, a talented quarterback, and the science coach might surprise with a boom start. Even if they do win the North, Lions win in playoffs. I'm down with that. Could you imagine? How about this for a scenario? Lions versus Bears for the winner to go to the Super Bowl in the NFC title game. I'd be down with that. Man, wouldn't that be something? Jordan, if we have an above average pass rush, our secondary could be top 5 at a minimum. I'm down with that. We all get it. We've got the 2 best safeties tandem out there in the NFL. Arnold, you already said it, Detroit D. He's going to be more than likely vastly improved over a year ago. DJ Reed's going to help. Meek's going to help. I mean, the whole shebang is going to be out there. We should have a pretty good secondary. Brent, Lions, Packers, Vikings, and the Bears drool. Exclamation point. Oh, yeah. Jess, great citations. I think the North is 1 Lions, 2 Vikings, 3 Bears, 5th place the Packers. I'll go with that, man. Hey, it's nice that the Packers at least show up, right? Kerry, Chicago got some good picks, no doubt, but just like the Lions, it will take time for the toilet seats to get it together. Plus, they don't have a player coach. No, that could be true. Could be true. Big Dad's Lions will pull out the iron and grit on those poor Bears. Yes, we'll put it to them 100%. Server. If everything went right, we shall see it all at the end of the season. I'm down with that. Steve, the Lions are the best team in the North, and Dan and the host, we in the Duke Crew absolutely rock. Yes, the Duke Crew does rock. Never doubt that. Never question that. Big Daz, all Ben Johnson has is tricks. We will show him real Lions football. Woo! And to your point, hey, let's be honest. When the tricks work, everybody loves them, like the fumble Ruski type play at Chicago last year, amongst a host of others. But it did feel like against the Commanders, man, he was trying to force trick plays just to get us going offensively way too much. And I think that's part of why MCDC wanted to go in a different direction with some of the offensive systems. All right, Stephanie, good morning, boys. Exclamation point. Our offense will be better this upcoming season than the last few years. I say this because the players are hitting their primes. The Bears defense is getting a little older too. To be fair, some of those Bears defenders, as good as they are, some of them are creeping into their 30s. And unfortunately, reality in athletics, most players, especially at the NFL level, you start getting in your 30s, the body does start changing, responding to that punishment a whole lot differently. Lion-O, greetings and salutations, Duke Crew! Exclamation point. Good morning and happy Thursday. Ben, I was just going to say Ben Johnson just needs to show instead of blow wind. Lightning and Thundercats. Ho! And I'm down with that. Good to see you, my friend. It's been a hot second. So where the duodettes at? Well, I think they're all over the channel, aren't they? Drake, greetings, salutations. Is Jordan Love a bust? Question mark. I think he could be. Man, he is as flip a coin right now with his career as could be. I will give him somewhat of a pass last year. I don't think that field in Brazil should have been played on. I get, you're trying to take this, product, the NFL, internationally. But you do have to be fair to the players, and I do think the NFL did both teams, Philadelphia and Green Bay, dirty by having them play on that field. Jordan Love, once he injured that knee, it's not that he didn't have some good games, but it did take him the majority of the season to kind of get right again. And once you start affecting a player's psyche, man, it's tough on most players, at least, to recover. France, not just the Bears, but it seems to me the entire NFC North is only getting better. The unknown is JJ, I'm assuming McCarthy, at quarterback for the Vikings. Yeah. He's the big unknown because you just haven't seen him in the NFL yet. I think he's got some upside. I think he's got some promise. How quickly is he going to be able to tap into that as really a rookie quarterback in the NFL? Bootscar Blade, good morning, Duke Crew starting lineup, and back at you. Always good to see you in the chat, my friend. Clark, let's give a shout out to our team. Yes, everyone else is getting better, but I feel we have as well. I would say that's 100%. I've said it a lot for a while now. I think this will be the deepest Detroit Lions team any of us have ever seen. I can't speak on the 1950s teams. I just wasn't around back then, so I don't know if those teams were deeper. At least in my lifetime, 70s to now, I have not seen potentially a deeper Lions team than this one. ARF, they sing Doodop at Silver Super. Maybe they do. Tori, rise and shine, Duke Crew fam. Keep talking, Ben. We are going to love those games and take it out on your quarterback. Yeah, I think there probably will be some heated exchanges. Moodscar Blade speaking in a link. I'll have to check it out. Coach JB says Ben Johnson will be a failure. That link is a small clip as to why. Yeah, it could be. We'll have to wait and see what he does. I hope he falls on his face at least every time he faces the Lions. Vincent E., good morning. Coach Dan of the Duke Crew, same to you. Moodscar Blade, guess that won't work in here. It'll be tough for me to clink it. Brett, that's a funny Moodscar. Ladalon, I can't wait until Detroit plays Chicago and Williams throws some pick sixes to Kirby. I hope he's like going out there and just, you get a pick six, you get a pick six, you get a pick six. Hopefully you guys get the reference there. Let's see, Moodscar Blade, did the link work for you, Brett? I'll find out. Thumbs up. ARF says Silver Server. There's another link from Moodscar. Dennis, good morning. Dan and Duke Crew, good to see you, Dennis. Feels like I don't see you as much as I used to, so hopefully you're hanging out and having a good one. Moodscar Blade, okay, I'll put that back in here then. All right, Susan Scott, this will be the year we get the Super Bowl, exclamation points. Woo! I hope so, man. I think we're all got visions of the Super Bowl, and yes, this could definitely be the year. JC, good morning, Coach and Duke Crew. Same to you. Ken, good morning, Duke Crew. Woo! Who doesn't like to woo the crew? ARF, great clip, Moodscar, laughing out loud. The non-laughers, good morning, Dan and Duke Crew starters, exclamation point. Man, Ben Johnson seems like a real weasel. Again, the longer you get somebody to talk, the more likely you are to get them to reveal who they actually are and not just wear that PR face, that public face. So he could be telling us who he is. Michael, you mean Turncoat Johnson. There you go. Benedict Johnson. There you go. Moonscar Blade, thanks. Make sure you take time to find that full video as to why Ben Johnson will be a failure. We'll check it out. Jonathan, good morning. And back at you. Aladdin Hunt, Coach, can you please cut that warning sound at the start? It freaks animals out and scares them. Have to remember to mute them start. Yeah, I'll try to do that. I kind of like it. I get maybe some people don't. David, what up, though? Exclamation point. I am curious if Ben can hold the locker room if the Bears have a rough first half of the season. That's a great call there, David. I don't think he will be able to. Now, if they don't have a pretty good start to the year, unfortunately, you're the new guy. People are going to start doubting you. Man, that stuff only worked because it was in Detroit, only because of Goff, only because of St. Brown, only because of J-Mo, only because of this guy, that guy, everything in between. People will start giving credit to everything other than you. Right now, he's trying to point a lot of the fingers at him, saying, hey, I was the cause of it. People might start second-guessing that. Good call, David. Marcus, good morning. Dan, the Duke Crew. Coach Dan, has any told you that you resemble Spencer Tarkelson? I don't even know who that is, man. I'll have to check that out. I'll look into it. Thank you, Marcus. Again, lost all respect for Ben Johnson. We'll see how successful they can be trying to put Lions culture in place in Chicago. Ben Johnson is not even close to MCDC. Yeah, it'll be a big moment in his career and his life for him. He's going to have to try to replicate something that might not be replicatable. Silver Server, the Bears will be a challenge, but I was thinking the NFL got film on Ben Johnson, although it will be a different offense, but the league does not have a lot of film on Morton, who must have evolved meanwhile. Yeah, 100%. We'll be able to catch some people probably off guard for a little bit with his offense. Chuck, good morning, Coach Dan and the Duke Crew. Back at you. Thank you for that, Chuck. Big D, Ben Johnson sold his soul running his mouth about the man that made him. It's cool with me, though. I didn't want to dig his grave anyways, so let him dig his own grave. He just did it with his mouth. He did, man. And again, unfortunately, most people just don't know when to be quiet. Keep interviews. I would tell anybody who's ever been a head coach, keep your interviews to 5 minutes or less. Why? It's going to be hard for someone to ask too many questions where you can give revealing stuff and you can get too comfortable to where loose lips sink ship. When you start going on for 15 to 30 minutes, that's when you're more likely to mess up. Mary, good morning, crew. Back at you, Mary. Good to see you as always. Mark, good morning, everyone, man. Same to you, Mark. Coach Rock, good morning. All just became a fan of Tigers. Fan Jack White last night watching the game. Big Tigers fan. Hey, glad he's a big fan. Now let's see. Hookadoo. Good morning, Duke Crew. I'm late. It happens, man. It happens. Jonathan. Good morning, Dan the Duke Crew. And back at you, buddy. Coach Rock. Also, thanks to the chalkboard talk, Ben Johnson. Every little bit of it gives an edge. Helps. Yes, 100%. And you know him as a coach, man. Just be careful what you say. Try to tell your players. I don't care if they're in their 30s, their 20s, their 40s, their teens. Give, couple word answers. They might be lame, but nobody can really use them against you. Let's see, Silver Server. The world of evaluation, scouting, and drafting players is like a 007 Spectre type of world. It is a billions business. Everybody talks to whoever they can, wherever they light or in the shade. So to your point, Silver Server, I can only speak to my background. I can't speak to the NFL. I've never been a scout at the NFL level. But if somebody's for the leagues I've worked for basketball players, if they want to know about this guy, if there's going to be a big enough contract online, you're not wrong. It's very much like the FBI coming in to interview somebody or the CIA if they're going to be put on a nuclear sub or something like that, a sensitive product. They want to know every detail about it. Now, in the NFL level, from what I do know, that's rounds 1, 2, and 3. You start getting to rounds 4 and on down. It's more generalized there, but especially first-round picks, yeah, they dive through everything. Second-round picks, more often than not, especially with this last past draft, most of those guys were probably rated like first-rounders as far as their deep dive evaluations of them, just because there was such balance between the two rounds. Mark, didn't J-Mo have 50-something receptions for 1,000 yards? He did, my friend. He did. Trim Reaper, good morning, Coach and Duke Crew. Woo! And back at you. There we go. Tigers didn't play last night. Rocky got rained out. Doubleheader today. There you go. Eric, what do you got? Good morning, all. Same to you, Eric. Like the thumbnail, by the way. Silver Server, I have not read the articles, but it is really Ben Johnson becoming the villain. It sounds like it, man. It does. This assuming arrogant, ungrateful man, question mark. If so, be glad. It meant he won't do much for Chicago. Probably not, but what I would say, some of you guys will get this reference. I don't think the movie's that old, maybe like 15 years ago. Any Given Sunday, Steamin' Willie Beeman. And so, in my opinion, Ben Johnson is the man of the moment. He's getting a lot of shine, a lot of praise. You got an entire culture of Bears fans, including the ownership, throwing everything in the world at you. And it seems like he's kind of getting swept up by it, and he's kind of forgetting himself because of it. He won't be the last person to ever suffer from it, and not just in sports, but in life. He might have to get grounded to come back down to earth, sort of like Steamin' Willie Beeman did. All right, Big D, very ungrateful and full of himself. It does appear that way. Silver Server, Mark Lewis, yes, less than 50 catches, I think. Might be true. Yeah, it was right around there, wasn't it? Mary, the ones that was saying we were going to trade JMO is the ones that were praying we would do so, could get him. Yes, a Lion fan for life. Yeah, JMO's going to be a Lion for life. Like you said, JMO, a Lion for life, Mary. I just don't see the kid leaving. I think he's a good kid. Doesn't mean he hasn't, stubbed his toe on some stuff, man. But, man, he's a 20-some-year-old kid, man, and a young 20s kid. I think he's growing up. He's maturing. I think he loves Detroit. I think he loves the Lions. You see him out at Red Wings games, Pistons games, Tigers games. And I some of the things he's been hit from the NFL, there's now looking back and saying, like with the gambling thing or was it the Adderall thing or whatever, they're saying, yeah, maybe we dropped the ball on this. We need to change that rule. And they have. Aaron, good morning, Coach. And Duke Crew, I hope. And back at you. Phil, good morning. Same to you, Phil. Jason and Brooklyn. One Pride Worldwide. Let's go! Exclamation point. Good morning, Duke Crew. Everybody loves the crew. Marcus, Tigers won last night, 8-6, and conclude the series today as a doubleheader. There you are. All right. Aaron, good morning, Coach and Duke Crew. I hope we sign. All right. We'll sign somebody, hopefully. Well, hopefully it's Darius Smith. Silver Server, Mary Smith. That's right, Mary. Exclamation point. Keep our JMO, the good kid, home. I think we're going to. That's my personal opinion. Obviously, we were signed to the 5th-year extension or a 5th-year deal. Let's see, Michael. Oh, my thanks, Marcus. There you go. Tug Speedman. Hey, Brad can pull off pull this off with Hendrickson. Our dynasty starts when the pen hits the paper. Winning. Tugs, it could happen. I just don't see it happening. But, if it does happen, I'm sure we're all going to be pretty dang thankful. Maybe now that the draft's over, and if maybe the Cincinnati Bengals are going to let him fly for, it can't be a 3rd next year. We don't have any, but maybe a 4th or 5th round pick, then maybe we can make it happen. Aaron, morning, Coach and Duke Crew. I hope we bring back Z. I think we will, man. I think it's a matter of time. Let him get through the summer. Chuck, after years of the Ford family, Mom and Dad ran the Lions. A huge thank you to Sheila for putting together this management team to build the future of the Lions team. What a vision. Woo! Yeah, hey, she probably got some credit early in this renaissance, but probably needs to always be given credit. We all know how bad we were until we weren't, and a lot of that was when she came on board, was given the reins to the organization, brought in the right people to advise her, handle things, and it's been successful ever since. Ben Johnson and Yogi the Boo-Boo are going to get their butts kicked out of Yellowstone this year. The Lions sweep them again. Let's hope so. Phil, Ben Johnson, peas in Lake Michigan. Might be, maybe true. Laughing out loud, Phil says, Aaron, Brent, keep Z in the D. Oh, yeah, I think they're going to, but again, let them get through the summer. He pees into the wind. Hey, well, let's see how that works for him. Angie, yes, bring Z back. Go Lions. I hope we do. Miles Margaret, greetings, salutations, Coach and crew. Ben Johnson, question mark. His mama don't dance and his daddy don't rock and roll. Very true statements. Mary, Silver Surfer, yes, love it. All right. Marcus, remember last offseason when everyone was crying that we need a big body wide receiver and an OG to replace Jonah Jackson? Hey, we did get an offensive guard. Now we've got a couple other replacements too. Let's see, Moonscar, Tesla, 30 receptions, 500 yards, 3, maybe 4 touchdowns. I would take that, 100%. Big D, Ben sits to pee. Maybe he does. Moonscar played. I'm on the same page. Bring Z back. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think he will be back, man. Miles Barker, Grit, Hookadoo, Silver Server Coach. I saw Meek, the undrafted free agent, cousin of Smith. I thought about a deal as I thought he was not NFL material. look better at him. Very slow, but big, tough, and with a lot of production. Who knows? Who knows, man? He's got. Let's be fair. There's going to be a whole lot of good players struggling to make that 53-man roster of the Lions. He will probably be one of those struggling. Black Lion Johnson has a big mouth and needs to be put in his place. I hope we put him in his place. Marcus Tesla, 25 receptions. Tesla, 25 receptions, 349 yards, 4 touchdowns. We'll take it. Phil Johnson hated the Lions. He's jealous of MCDC. Unfortunately, if you coach for a while, and this is going to be true in other professions, you see a whole lot of people that are jealous of whoever the head coach is. And unfortunately, sometimes that plays a factor in a multitude of things. Hopefully for Ben Johnson's sake, he's not that guy, but I think a lot of the evidence out there suggests he is. All right, Hookadoo, morning. Miles Marker, how's living the high life and having internet? You had 2 months of grit and more coming. Yes, hopefully more good news for Miles Marker and those up north. Silver Server, Tug Speedman. Hey, Tug, you wrote winning instead of winning. Yeah, it happens, man. Yeah, whining instead of winning. Sorry. Big D, Ben wears lace underwear and sits down to pee. Hey, whatever works for you, man. Marcus, Ben Johnson's trick plays will hurt the Bears. Could be true. Michael, only thing Ben Johnson loved about Detroit is the money he got. That might be very accurate. Phil, Johnson gave birth to her kids. There you go. Mary, Johnson feeling himself too quickly. You left the best to try to beat the best. Good luck, buddy. Detroit for life. I like the way you're thinking there, Mary. Very good points. One pride. Good morning, Duke crew and coach! Exclamation point. Bring on Johnson. Time to check that eagle. Let's put it in place. I can't wait to see the schedule release just so we can all circle those games on the schedule, on the calendar. What do we want to say? Chuck, his ego shirt is writing a lot of checks. Yeah, and his body might not be able to check it. You know, hate to say it, but Williams is quarterback, man. He might have to cash some of those checks for Ben Johnson. Anyway, we're going to do Benedict Johnson can have makeup parties with Caleb Williams now. There you go. There you go. Paint some nails. Keitho, yep, Ben sold us out. I think he did, man. Phil, hope Johnson stands close to the sidelines. Our players might enjoy getting a hit on him. Wouldn't that be something? Be some fines on that, but might be worth it. Kim, Ben Johnson, I am great. Will get old real fast. Did he brag about his failures during the playoff game? Question mark. If those calls are his best, we're in for a real treat. Yes, indeed. And you know what? He couldn't have left the stadium any faster after that game. I think maybe that's a telltale sign. Server, Marcus, okay. If it has to be 25 catches, then let's make them all of them clutch and put a couple extra TDs if you don't mind. No, he should be definitely a red zone target. Marcus, Arnold Benedict Johnson will struggle. Watch. I like the way you're thinking. Chuck, Ben Johnson has a lot of comment in with a long list of New England assistant coaches over the years. I think a meltdown in Chicago is coming. Could be true. A great point there about the New England coaches. Miles Marker, laughing out loud. Hookadoo. Nice to be back in the modern era. There you go. Welcome back. Marcus, April in the D was great. Nice it was. Miles Marker, nice guy there for you. Dan, woo! Hey, it happens. It happens. Hookadoo. That dude through that playoff game, he freaking laughed when Goff took that illegal hit. You know, I'm not gonna say other than stuff we've talked about for months when it came to the playoff game. I think they didn't look very prepared offensively. Either they were too busy with interviews or they were overlooking Washington. Both are a cardinal sin of coaching. You don't overlook anybody. Me, myself, and I can tell you I lose more sleep facing the team with 1 win, 5 wins, 0 wins than I do with the team that's undefeated. It's how I'm wired. Those teams drive me nuts because they have nothing to lose. Phil, Ben Johnson charged $10K on your account. He might have, man. Maybe it was for the thumbnail. Marcus, Silver Server, I agree, but I'm setting low expectations so he can exceed them. I like that. I like that. Haters House, let's see. Week 1, I want Commanders. Woo! I wonder if we'll get it. That would be a good matchup. Phil, Johnson loves to get a team head. He's a freak. There you go. I'm leaving that one alone, Phil. Miles Marker, I know, right, Hookadoo? That laugh he had really stunk. It did indeed. Silver Surfer, right, Marcus? No, nobody Cavalier. Like I said about our draft picks, some of Ben Johnson, wait until mid-January and we'll find out probably the sooner, but just wait for and watch and find out. Woo! I like the way you're thinking. Yeah, we'll have to wait and find out. J-Mo Lion King, Coach Panay is 24. Sorry about that. 24, not 23. It's interesting that the draft pick Mead is 23. Panay started in the NFL at 20 years old. Wow. Yeah, I want to say when he was drafted, he was 19, but to your point, when he actually played in the NFL, he was 20. So there you go. Marks, I want the Commanders for game 1, 2. There you go. Leo, Jimmy, please put Monty and Gibbs on the field at the same time. It's a no-brainer. I do think we're going to see pro sets, so split back sets. So, one running back here, one running back there, tight end, 2 receivers, and then he can flex the receivers around and the tight end around, etc. Phil, let's play the Bears 17 times this year and go 17-0. Let's see if we can make that happen with Roger Goodell. Michael, Ben Johnson calling a handoff at the Commanders Redskins goal line was disappointing to say the least. Indeed. Tug Speedman, sorry, Silver. Kerry, what do you got? Ben was a good coordinator because he took orders good from Dan. He was a fan of trick plays. Some were Ben's and some Dan's, but they only happened because Dan let it happen. This is true, and that's why I think MCDC came through and said, "Hey, everybody's gonna have to clear those things with me now." Phil Johnson scratches Bear pictures on Tesla. Maybe. Doug Speedman, big time winning. Let's hope we do. We're gonna do 14-3. Oh, yeah, Lions roar. I'll take that. Pat, it's funny how Ben is building the same team as Detroit, but it didn't work that way. He can try, but players in Detroit is a special team. You don't throw a team like Detroit together. No, a lot of things have to go right. Hey, give Brad Holmes, the scouting department, a whole lot of credit for helping. Let's see, Chuck, Ben doesn't have a chance. The Lions play as a whole team. It was just Ben Johnson's show. Lions have the one pride and Lions grit. Bye, Ben. We'll see you later, Ben. Look at you. Bearskin rugs for sale. Buy one, get one free. I would think we'll sell a lot of those. Rocky, when our defense stays healthy this year, the Bears will be in trouble. Didn't capitalize the Bears on purpose. Laughing out loud? Might be true. Pat, Ben is not Dan. Dan is the leader of men. Ben is not just a little squirrel. Might be a little squirrely. All right. Just from his body language, I always thought Ben Johnson was cocky and full of himself. I hope he comes back and bites him, you know where. Well, probably true. Silver Surfer, by the way, I don't think you will see Tyreek the Freak in rookie camp. He had a hamstring injury. You better take good care of those. What happened to Rakestraw? Yeah, I think you won't see him until July, basically. And it doesn't mean they won't do some individual stuff with him, but I think you're right. They're going to give that thing all the time in the world to heal up. Phil Johnson is proving math teachers don't make good coaches. We all know real estate agents do. Hey, thanks for that shout out, my friend. Phil, Ben Johnson eats hot dogs for breakfast. Hey, wait a minute. I eat hot dogs for breakfast, or at least I used to before Jen put the kibosh on that. D Lions fan, skip the Bears. I like the way you're thinking. Phil, good luck passing the wind tunnel. Johnson, there you go. Ben Johnson is broski. Could be very true. Bu Jensen, what do you got? One thing we got going for us is the defense knows Ben's tendencies, but I guess that can work both ways. One pride, baby. Very true. Good point on that. Mike M. Hey, Dan, you need to learn how to pronounce Amid's name. It's pronounced Hassanin. Yes, Hassanin. Thank you. I know I got to work on these things, but the only thing I can say, Mike, is, man, I've been murdering names either in print media, TV media, or YouTube media for years now. Let's see. Like J.R. Jones, I'm late, started work at 3 a.m., top of the morning, Duke Crew, one pride. Hey, man, hopefully you got a Mountain Dew to help keep you awake. Thanks for making the show, as always, my friend. Phil, Ben Johnson wears depends. Could be true. Nobody's Kepler. The more I think about what Brad Holmes did in the first round with Tyreek is a big swing to Williams, is not only a Broderick Martin replacement, but what they really want out of Levi. Yeah, could be true. Yeah, 100%. We'll see what Williams can do. D13. Forward 6 minutes and past all the intro and self-advertisements. Hey, it's part of the show, man. If you don't like it, not mine I can do for you then, man. Miles Barker, good morning. Grit back at you. Black J.R. Jones, there you go. Nick, Ben Johnson just made the Detroit Lions more hungry. I would agree with that. Bears better watch out. And the true with that. Derek, good morning, coach and crew. I don't want to beat Johnson twice a year. I give him 2 years before the Bears fire him. He's a poser. Yeah, it could be a very accurate statement. Phil, Chicago is where coaches go to fail. Let's hope one more does. Mike M, the Bears are still deficient in the running game when compared to the Lions. Gibbs and Montgomery compared to Swift and Roshan Johnson is no match. Lions win hands down. I like the way you're thinking. Johnny Gas Sports, the infamous one. Let's see. Good morning, Dan and Duke Crew. Exclamation point. Happy Thursday. Go Lions. Boo Bears, 100%, my friend. Let me know. Shoot me a text when we can get you on the show, man. And I need to get on yours, too. Pat, Bears will not make the playoffs. Skip the Bears and Ben. Let's skip them all. D13. I still don't see us paying JMO $20+ million per season. We'll see, man. You'll see. Time will reveal itself in time. Phil, Bears' new uniforms are pink. Are they now? Gary Johnson, 2 years start now before the pink slip. Could be. Gary, morning, Gasman. Silver Server. The 50s football was the different story. Free, adventurous. Some of them worked on the side. Yes, they did. They had to have jobs on top of playing. The business was not so rich. It was still a human level. Who knows? It may come back. Maybe in time. Phil, Ben Johnson was a Matt Patricia hire. Ooh, good call. Dynamite. What'd he say? Man, just talk. I'll paraphrase. He just took some shots at the Lions offense, the players, MCDC. There we go. Let's see. Gary, I heard Ben looks good in pink. Maybe he does. I've never seen it. Imagine a nerd like Ben Johnson preaching grit is hilarious. I can't wait. There you go. Derek, MCDC wears his emotions on his sleeve, and the players love and respect him for it. Johnson is all about Johnson. Could be 100% true. He's off to a bad start and replacing the Lions culture. Yeah, we'll see if he can replicate it. I get he's going to try. I think a lot of people are trying. It's whether or not you can actually do it. Motown Mitch, Bears had a ton of talent last year, but they had Buston Williams under center, and Ryan Poles is still GM. Sounds like the Bears are messed up. I'll go with that. Mike M. would love to see the Lions and Eagles open the season Thursday night. That would be awesome. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a primetime game like that. Pat, the podcast Motor City Mana, that kid breaks down the Bears. It's a good view if you guys got time there and watch it. Yeah, I like David. I think he does real good work. I've reached out to him a couple different times. We'll see if he wants to do a collab. The tough part I have with most of the pods out there is just the time of day. When they're available, I'm working. Obviously, you guys know I'm on here at 7 o'clock in the morning. That doesn't work for a lot of people's schedules, but David does real good work. I think he's a good dude. Look at you. Andy wears high heels also. So you have fashion shows in the Bears locker room. Ben Johnson is the judge who is the prettiest Bears player. Hey, well, you gotta have something to play for, right? Miles, I think you're right. Mary Smith, Kate ain't impressed. What did Ben Johnson say about Dan Campbell? Again, paraphrasing, I'm not going to go through it all again. More or less that he thought a lot of Lions' success, the renaissance of the offense, came through him and some of his play calls. Phil, Ben Johnson sent Dan a meatloaf. Might be true. Henry Moore, all I can say is stuff at Johnson. Let's go, Tigers, Panthers. Can't wait for the Lions to hit the field. Exclamation point. Woo! And back at you. Robert, late rewinding. Have a great day. Hey, we'll see you soon, my friend. Have a great one yourself. Gary, speaking of Johnson's comments is like speaking of Broski. No common sense there. Probably true. Benjamin, good morning, Duke Crew. Please advise D13 whenever he may be to kindly take a hike. Yeah, I mean, the only thing I can say, guys, is most of you guys seem to like the show. And I can't say it's going to work for everybody. It's not going to work for everybody. I do what I can to, be as authentic as I can with the show, do things. But, there's going to be some stuff that doesn't work for people. I get some people don't like it when I do the what do you want to call it, the alert at the start of it. I get it. That's why I don't play it all the time. Some people apparently don't like the opening stuff. You know what? It's a show just like you watch on TV. You're going to see some advertising out there. I don't put any kind of product placements in the show like most other YouTubers do for bet this guy, bet that guy, order this product. I don't do it. So if the worst thing I do is, hey, say I'm a realtor. If you want a realtor who's going to work on your behalf, give me a call. Sorry, man. I guess that ruins your day. Mary, have a great day. Off to make money. Go enjoy the day, my friend. And thanks for being part of the show and the crew. Pat, Ben spent every penny Chicago had. It's going to be funny to watch the next 5 years as a team has to get rid of all the players because he wasn't smart with the money. Yeah, they could basically be sort of like Miami now, as cap strapped as they are. Man, talking here. K ain't impressed. Why is he speaking on us anyways? He's chasing us. He wants everybody to know we're targeting the Lions. I'm guessing that's why, okay? Miles Bar, good luck on that, Mary Smith, 100%. Do you think the Bears are going to be better than us? I don't. I think they're going to be better, but I don't think they're going to be better than us. I think the NFC North is going to be highly competitive. I think we all agree on that, but I see the Bears being probably third place. 11 Hunt, maybe Broski Bear works at Bell Tire. Ooh, now that's a thought. Miles Marker, laughing out loud, 11 Hunt, K Impress. Not understanding why the Lions are so hated by so many people because they're jealous of the Lions. People but claim we never won a Super Bowl, but for us not to have ever won be sure live in everybody's mind. You know, to your point, Kay, there was somebody in the comment section, I'm guessing they weren't a Lions fan, you know, brought that up. I want to say yesterday or the day before. And here's what I said to him in a nutshell. You know, I can't worry about 50 years ago, 30 years ago. I can only worry about this regime. That's what they're responsible for. The players and coaches, the front office that are here now. So what have they done since the moment they got here to where they are now? Here's what you can say. The Lions during those 4 years are the third most winning percentage team in the NFL. If your claim that we're a loser or not good is because we didn't win a Super Bowl, then I got bad news. In 4 years, 4 teams have won it. And whatever the math was on it, there's 140 some odd teams because 32, 31 teams that didn't win each one of those 4 years that haven't won. They've won the division 2 times. They have the third highest winning percentage during that time, and the trend is their friend. Every year they've gotten better. So if that makes us losers, then great. Then chances are whatever team you represent, unless they're the Kansas City Chiefs or Philadelphia Eagles, are probably losers. Right, Atlanta laughing. Hookadoo. We will see MCDC's reaction when Benedict Johnson called that pass. When J-Mo, he was like, what the heck? Yes, I would agree with that. 100%. Watch that body language. Hookadoo. Morning, Brent. Ziggy and friends, good morning, do crew. Back at you. Let's see you. One cheek and 3 toes. Good morning. If Skip Ben Johnson and Skip the Bears. We'll go with that. Miles Barker. Good morning, Ziggy and friends. Yes, 3 toes. Grit Thursday, 100% grit. Thanks, Miles Barker. Have a great day. Phil. Dan doesn't beg for donations or hawk merch. This is for us, not for Coach's profit. Yeah, I just enjoy doing the show. And again, if the worst thing of it is that I, put something up there about the fact I'm a realtor, and I guess there's worse things in life. If that's the worst part of your day, you're probably having a good day. Carrie, a lad of the hunt, laughing out loud. Hookadoo, that's a great screen name. Oh, yes, it is, man. It is. Carrie, tick, tick, tick. Carrie, happy trails. We'll see you next time. Chad the historian, it's not the coaches or the players, it's the curse of the Fords. Ooh, well, hopefully we're changing that. All right, guys, if there is breaking news later today, I'll get it over to you as quick as possible. If you would be so kind before checking out, hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, hit all the buttons. Go have a good day. Do something kind for somebody you don't know. And you know what? We'll see you all on the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, everybody. You're still here? What are you doing here? It's over. The show's over. Go home.